What's up guys, it's Kaizou here with part 2 of the reason I quit NosTale. In the previous video, we discussed the cause of me quitting NosTale UK. We'd seen to garner some interest. So today, I've decided to make the next video entry discussing a few changes I believe will make the game a more accessible experience. Okay, so before we talk about changes to high-level gameplay, let's discuss the main points of the game that make NosTale hard to get into for both returning players and new players. The first reason is questing. It has been so many years and the only way to gain enough experience to reach the Land of Death is through completing your Act 1 questline. This is infuriatingly boring to do once you've done it before and becomes a major roadblock to meaningful progress. Secondly is the Land of Death. The Land of Death has always been the most important place to level up from level 55 to 90. Without the Land of Death, gaining experience is basically impossible. The worst part is that you require a family to enter this map, and clearing it is a team effort, meaning you'll first have to find a family willing to accept you, and then also find players within the family willing to level you up. This is a huge problem as even today, logging into NosTale, I see players still in Channel 1, spending hours looking for a family that can help them to do the Land of Death. This is a huge moment where the majority of players get hard stuck, because most players and families are of higher levels and have no incentive to level up or help a new player. So now, how do I propose we fix these problems? Well, that's simple. The first solution is to add side quests within each act that give players enough experience to progress at a realistic pace, reducing the time it would take to reach level 55. We'd want to cut down the time it takes to reach level 55 by at least a third. It should not take more than a couple hours to reach the Land of Death in order to keep player retention high. The second solution is to remove the requirement to do the Land of Death. By creating side quests or even areas with greatly increased combat experience, players should be able to avoid this map at all costs, and not rely on major group activities to progress through the non-champion stages of NosTale. The last solution is to create a new level package that will instantly boost your character to champion level 10. The goal of NosTale right now should be to get as many players towards the end game as soon as possible. Having to first complete Act 1 to 5.2 content just isn't going to happen, as the majority of the players are doing Act 8 content while the rest of the players are few to none in the lower Act stages. By starting the player at champion level 10, they'll have the best point to catch up and get into the higher acts themselves. This package should include champion level 10 equipment, a complete questline from Act 1 to Act 5.2, 50% fairies, 60% resistances, and specialist cards 1, 2, 3, and 4. This package will give a returning or new player the start they need to make it to the end game, and one day complete high level content with the rest of the players. With these changes, NosTale will certainly become more accessible to new and veteran players, as we've eliminated the need for grinding old content areas and allowed solo players to have an opportunity to make progress. If the majority of new players are starting at champion level 10, it will make doing raids like Arena and Zenith more realistic, as these players would be able to raid among themselves rather than hoping a high level team would let them join. By creating this system, there will be more players making meaningful progress towards their character, while also having a higher retention of players who stick around. Meaning that the endgame of NosTale will see even more players joining, rather than the players slowly decreasing over time. If changes aren't made to make the endgame accessible and new acts continue to be introduced, then the game will surely take its toll on player numbers, as veteran players can only be around for so long. It doesn't matter how many merges and new NosTale servers are released, the amount of players NosTale has is all it will ever have, so the game has to make a decision if it wants to survive. Anyways, this has been Kaizou with part 2 of why I quit NosTale. I did say in the first video that we'll discuss the changes NosTale should make with content such as Rainbow Battle and other modes, but maybe we'll save that later for another video on its own. If you enjoyed the video or have any thoughts of your own, feel free to leave a comment below. This has been Kaizou again. Goodbye.